Go ahead and pull a chair.
Well, you don't need to worry about looking over here. You can find this.
I do have some stuff.
Yeah, so we've got, yeah, they have some, we've got these saddles and many more.
This is my husband, Frank. The biggest collar they ever made.
What did you say that was right there?
Her husband.
It's a collar.
Yeah, I actually am still learning the terminology for all the saddles. So I know that's Frank, but you said that's a collar for.
Yeah, for more workhorse type collar.
Oh,
Because
I
it's really
see.
big.
Oh, okay.
Here's one collar.
Oh. And what would that be used for?
They put it over the horse's neck,
Okay, so it's like the same shape as that right there.
and then the reins and things would come, through the bits and around. So. But he never bucked anybody off while we had him in the shop. Kids always want to ride on.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh, yeah. It reminds me of those penny horses at King Soopers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry?
There's those penny horses on at King Soopers where you could ride it for the horse ride for a penny.
Oh.
Yeah. I think they got rid of them. I had them in my childhood. Those were fun.
They have one of them up on 2nd Street on Main and 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
And so they called and asked about that. And I don't know what else he's been doing lately, but he's really old, so you have to be careful.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's holding up the saddle fine.
Yeah. So tell us about how you came to get to be one of the foster parents of Lucky.
Oh, okay. You want me to sit down and do that, or?
Yeah, sure. We can get that chair for you.
Oh, okay.
Sit down. Yeah.
Okay, so Mrs. Fraser had him in her garage. And are you ready?
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
Okay, and so she wanted him to be, not stuck in the garage anymore. So she called and asked us if we would like to have him. And of course we did. And so we put him right in the window. And everybody that came in noticed him. Kids, of course, always wanted to put on, and we never let that. But we did have a blanket and a light saddle on there the whole time. And I don't know, everybody that came in wanted to, touch him. They felt like he was a real horse, I guess. So. But he was there for, I don't know, the shop burned down in 1969, I think. I can't remember for sure. But anyway, next door was Anderson's Upholstery. And so Billy, one of the guys, his folks owned it. And so he was always up on the roof, fixing the roof, and he had a kettle with fire underneath it. And it had tar in it, And I always thought that was going to burn the shop down. Well, that was not it. It was inside. Somebody had rolled up an incendiary device in the carpet, some of the carpets that he had on display there. And they had, fortunately, taken all of their records, their computers, and all that kind of stuff across the street. And so they didn't have to worry about saving anything. Well, the only thing that we really got to save was the horse. And I had 2 little paper mache Boston Terrier bulldogs. We had like 4 buildings there, but 2 of them were part of the shop. And so we had great big places to put the hats and the boots and stuff. And up on top, we had those little paper mache dogs. And so when Anderson's caught our shop on fire, the firemen poked holes in the ceiling of the shop, in the roof, and they stuck the hose down through there, and those little paper mache dogs were right in the spray of the water, and they disintegrated. So fortunately, they'd taken the horse out on the street, and he didn't get hurt, but we lost the little dogs and all of our merchandise and all of that stuff. And so it was, we didn't have enough insurance to cover the
Mhm.
whole thing. So actually, it was the end of my husband's career and max salary in town. And we were the last, there used to be 5 saddle making businesses here in Pueblo. And we were the last one, and now there's not any.
Mhm.
But people don't ride horses anymore
Right.
like they used to.
Not
so,
for getting around.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he was not only spared from water during the flood, but also from the firefighters' water hoses in that
Right,
fire.
yeah, the
Because you
fire.
said, what did you say when it first started, that they took him out first? Or did
That
you say
what?
they took him out of one of the first things that they rescued out?
Because he was already kind of a famous horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as soon as they got there, he was already on that float thing there. And so they took him out on the sidewalk, and all the people came by and saw him out there and everything. But yeah, we were not able to save it. So we loaned him to the museum, and he's been here ever since.
Yeah, we're so grateful that you guys were able to donate it to the Pueblo County Historical Society, and then they have it on loan here in the museum. And so I'm curious because you said he was kind of a famous horse. Um, can you say more about how he was perceived by the community and how people saw him as a horse? I mean, even before you guys got him?
The kids always wanted to come in and ride him. But, we never let anybody do that. He's not very strong to be able to do that. But, everybody, and they bring their friends in from out of town and everything to see him.
Really?
Yeah, because it's pretty rare. But there is one in Oklahoma City. I've seen him. But I don't know. He's just been here for a long time. Lost his ear in the flood.
Yeah.
But they were able to find it, put it back up there. And I guess that's about the major thing. We've had the shop had been broken into a lot of times, but they just wanted the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
So he also survived burglaries too.
Yeah, so the windows, great big huge plate glass windows, cost a lot of money every time they'd break the windows. So, but anyway, we managed until the last fire, I guess.
So when you were growing up as a little girl, did you hear stories about Lucky?
I'm sorry?
When you were growing up as a little girl, did you hear stories about Lucky?
I never did till I got married into
Okay.
the family.
Cool. Are you, what's your background? How did you make it to Pueblo?
Well, actually, I came from Oklahoma, and we tried to live here for a while, and then it didn't work out for everybody. My mom didn't like working in the state hospital. So anyway, we went back to Oklahoma and tried to make a living there and couldn't. So we came back here and been here ever since. But I've been a school teacher in Pueblo ever since 1969, I think 25 years. I was a teacher first grade at Summerlid, always first I started in a portable, and then I got to go inside. And so I was there for the rest of my career. But when I was in the portable, they locked the doors at like 3:30. Well, I'm still out there busy in my room, trying to get everything ready for next day. So the girl that was right across from me, the window, she opened the window, and I'd have to crawl in.
Oh my goodness.
And then I would crawl out, and the janitors would shut it after I got out.
Did you ever tell your students about Lucky and everything?
Let's see, what else do I know about Lucky? He didn't eat much. Everybody, they bring, one reason they like to bring people into the shop is because of the smell of the leather, So if they had people here visiting from out of town, they would bring them into the shop and tell about the horse and smell the leather. So it was a good business until they decided to burn their building down and burned ours down too. And I really felt sorry for my husband. That was his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we just carried on from there.
How long did you get to run the business with him? When did he start the business before or after you guys got married?
I don't remember exactly when it was. When I first got married, they didn't have him, but then Mrs. Fraser called, and he was just in the garage, and she asked if we'd like to have him, and of course we did. So we had him and put him in the window, and he was there until the fire
Mm-hmm.
from in our shop. So then I think we must have called the museum and had him on loan. He's just on loan. So he's been here that whole time.
When did you,
You've taken good care of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
when did you marry your husband?
I'm sorry.
When did you and your husband get married?
When did I get married? Let's see. I think I got married in 1959.
Oh, wow.
I can't remember. I remember I graduated from college in 1956. So
And how did you two meet? How did you two meet?
how did I
meet your husband?
meet my husband? At a dance? There used to be a place out on Elizabeth called the Columbine Inn. And so it was a dance hall. And every Friday, I believe it was, we would go there and dance. And he was a really good dancer. So, you know, we finally decided to get married. We were married 47 years before he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And after the shop burned down, he really didn't have anything else to do. He tried to work at Ben Fatty Furniture, you know, but they put you in a little area and you couldn't go out. He used to be in the shop selling people whenever they came in, you know. So he didn't do that very long, but I worked. I worked until 25 years, I think, in the first grade. I never got out of first grade. So, and that was all at Summerlid School. And it's not even going anymore. You know, it used to be have a early childhood education there after Summerlid stopped being our grade school.
Mm-hmm.
But I had all of those kids out for all of those years. And then pretty soon, I've been there so long, I started to get their children, so I felt like their grandma. So, but it was a good school, neighborhood school. So yeah, I guess it's a good second home for me. I spent probably got there early and went home late all the time, but you know, I wanted everything to be ready.
Yeah, I remember being a teacher too, doing all that overtime.
Yeah, so yeah, you have to. The kids are so quick, you know, you have to be ahead of them all the time. So I'm glad I don't do it anymore. But,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it while I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So now I stay home. I belong to singing group. So we go and sing we practice Wednesdays and then we sing on Thursdays.
That's right. I think that's how I got to find you.
Yeah,
It was from your friend.
Troubadours and,
Yeah.
you know, we go to all the nursing homes and
Wow.
fair and stuff like that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You might have to add a song about us. I wrote a poem/song about Lucky. I'll have to show you. I haven't put it out anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we'll have to turn it into a curated song for your group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so grateful because I was trying to find you and the number I had was wrong, and your friend came here, and that's how I found you, was through her. She's the one that connected us.
I
So
forgot. She told me who it was. I forgot who it was.
I forgot. I think I have her number somewhere,
Yeah.
but yeah, her name
Yeah,
and number.
she
But
told me that she had,
thankfully, she connected us. Do either of you have some more questions for her about anything at all?
Oh, I had one and then I lost it.
Just lost
Hold
it.
on.
We'll remember it.
Took notes.
No, I'm just enjoying. Yeah, it's so fun to hear back and see a peek into history through you. It's really cool. It's so great to go back and have a peek into history through your voice and through your stories.
Been there.
Yeah.
I still like to do that with people, you know. So there's not very many people older than me, though, anymore. But I'm just glad that, you know, people are still interested in him.
Oh yes, he is quite the gem. People come far and wide.
Okay, I'm definitely this year and I couldn't hear all that one.
He's quite the gem. People really enjoy coming to see him. Do you
Yeah.
remember what happened to his eyes?
No, I know we lost his ears in the flood.
I think the eyes fell out too in the flood. He had glass eyes when he was at Fraser's before the flood.
Yeah.
That's where my research led, is that he used to have glass eyes. And then they didn't choose to replace those, and so they kind of just did. I'm thinking that's metal or something else for the eyes.
Yeah.
So now he doesn't have the glass eyes anymore, but they did still draw a little white dot for like an eye of people.
They it looks like they filled it in and then painted over it with
Yeah.
regular paint,
Mhm.
and then added a little reflection.
Yeah, a little reflection dot. I'd love to hear a bit more, Lucky. I would love to hear more about Lucky as we think of it too, but your childhood and how, I know you said you're from Oklahoma, but like, tell us just a little bit about you, Berta, and how about just anything you'd like to share from, when you were born and forward.
Well, I went to a 2-room school.
Oh, wow.
And it started at, they didn't have kindergarten. They called it primer in those days. Primer, first grade, and then we got through till the 8th grade. Then we graduated. We could go to either there's a town called Bradley or one called Lindsay. And I lived on the Lindsay County side, so I went to Lindsay High School until we moved in about, I think I came here when I was a sophomore and started at Centennial.
Oh, me too.
At Centennial. Yay,
yeah, go dogs.
Yes.
I'm a dog too.
Yeah, and then I started Southern Colorado, well, it was Pueblo Junior College in those days, and so I did those 2 years. And then in the meantime, then they had started the university, so I went to the university and graduated from there. And,
what did you study?
Where did I study? Centennial.
Or what did you study at the university? What was your focus?
I studied elementary education.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And then I got a master's degree from Adams State College. And I just kept on until finally, I think after 25 years being at Summerlid, I retired. And then I substituted after that. First, I substituted before I started working as a teacher, and then afterwards I substituted. And some of the kids that I had were principals. So they would call me and I go substitute for somebody at their school. So then I finally, I finally just stopped doing that, I think. I probably started doing something else. I worked at the museum over there.
Rosemount? Is it Rosemount Museum?
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
Rosemount. And then I did over here. What's that other one over there on the?
Close to here? El
Yeah.
Pueblo? El
Yeah.
Pueblo History?
Yeah, I think I went there for a while. And I love stories about old times and old things and stuff. So I always enjoy going to museums. I try to do that whenever I go to another city, but sometimes we can't. It's not open when I'm there.
Yeah.
So, but we, my folks still lived in Oklahoma when they moved back. My mom liked Oklahoma better than Colorado. So they moved back to Oklahoma, and I would go down there and visit, and she didn't like to come here too much, but because she had to work at State Hospital. We all worked at State Hospital, but I worked there after I got out of college. I worked as a site technician, and then I had babies, and so I didn't, was not that busy anymore, just taking them to their schools and all that stuff. And so I had 2 daughters. One of them has passed away. My son lives in Arizona, and he was in the Army. And then he got out of the Army and married somebody, and they moved down to Arizona. He did come out here. I've seen him just lately. So every once in a while he'll stop by, you know, or else we go down there. So then my other daughter lives here, and she does home health care. And my middle daughter has passed away. So got all I can think of.
Yeah. And if you don't mind me asking, I'm curious, what city were you born in and what year and date?
Okay, Lindsay, Oklahoma. It's there's a lot of oil wells around that area in Oklahoma, and so it was. I went to the little country school called Sea Chapel, SEA Chapel. I don't know why they named it that, but the owners or the people who built it was named SEA. And so I went to school there until 8th grade, and we had 4 students as seniors, 2 girls and 2 boys. And I had to be I had the highest grades. But anyway, she was kind of a cousin, and her her father had oil wells. Well, so they decided she should be the valedictorian.
Oh.
So I was the class prophet. And so I had to write a little story about, you know, how it happened. And I said that my mom helped me. I was driving my 1965 Roadster convertible.
Ooh.
So I went on about that and everything, but they still live there. I moved to Oklahoma, you know, and so my other 3 people that were seniors same time all still live there, I think.
Wow.
So I think probably a good thing I moved to Colorado. And my mom and dad both had jobs, so, you know, we had more money than we had in Oklahoma. But I still love Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I love the hills. And
Yeah, I drive there twice a year. That's where my husband's family is from.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, I'm familiar with the drive. Near Bartlesville, right on the Oklahoma,
Yeah.
Kansas border. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they live literally almost on the border.
Did you go to college there?
No, but my husband was born there, and so was his mom. Yeah, so I go there often. Really love it.
Yeah.
I was born there.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Where?
Seminole.
Okay,
It's kind of near Tulsa.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
Both
I
of my
left there
parents.
before I went to college, so I would like to have gone to the girls' school.
Mhm.
What's the name of that? Is it at Chickasha?
Ooh, I don't remember. My dad went to the OSU though, and then I think he went to both of them, both of the major colleges
Yeah.
there. I can't remember. My mom also went there. One of them, I mix them up, but so they both got degrees there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, my dad's brother and sister both came out here, and they both worked at the state hospital. So then they got my dad to come out here, worked at the state hospital, and so when I started college, I was a site technician at the Colorado State Hospital, and I stayed there for, I guess, until I got married, and then I stayed home with the kids until they got big enough to go to school. So anyway, they did okay, and I never actually went back to work after that, but I stayed home and took care of the kids, and then I used to I was a substitute. I did that. I forgot about that after the kids got big enough. So I substituted everywhere, and a lot of them, they had been my friends at school. They got to be principals, you know, and everything. So I always had a job whenever they needed somebody, they'd call me, and I'd go be a substitute, which was a lot harder than having your own first grade, you know. But it was fun meeting all the different kids and seeing if I could get them controlled.
Yeah.
But, you know, first thing I would do, I would walk in and they're all, you know, how you move around and get settled down in your seat and everything. And I would just stand there and not say a word. And then pretty soon somebody noticed I was not talking. So she quit talking. And then somebody noticed two of us were not talking. And then pretty soon all the rest of the people stopped. So that's how I got attention.
That's a
And then
great
they would
way.
listen, you know, and then I give them their instructions and all of that.
That's better than yelling. Save your voice.
They wouldn't listen.
Yeah, it's better. I remember doing that too with
Yeah.
students.
Just stand there and
Yep.
they'll think, what's she doing, you know? So, but anyways, is any of this making any sense?
Absolutely,
Yes.
and I know he's taking notes for
Okay.
article. Any other questions from anyone else?
So,
I did have one question. It's
Okay.
about your husband.
Yeah.
What was his role when he was running the shop?
okay, well, at first his dad had it, and so it was just a little, actually like a little one room, but on the other side, this one room was the shop where they did saddle repair and built all the stuff that they built. And the cash register part was there, and then up in the front were a lot of saddles that were on display. And so finally that got to be not enough, and we had hats and boots and clothes and everything. So we had to spread into the next building, and then pretty soon we had 4 buildings there. And we had a girl, this is off the subject, but anyway, we had this girl down there, and she's working for us, and we start noticing that we didn't have all the mates for all the boots. If she couldn't find a mate, she'd throw the other one out in the trash in a big dumpster. Well, we found out that was happening. Well, that was the end of her, but why would anybody do that?
Yeah, I can't find the mate. Just throw it away.
Just, no evidence.
Just throw it in the lost and found. The trash can.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Just throw it in the lost and found. Don't throw it in the
Well,
trash
yeah,
can.
Yeah.
leave it sitting somewhere. I'd find
Yeah.
it and go put it away,
Yeah.
but that was so weird.
Yeah.
She didn't last very long.
So you guys sold boots, saddles. What else did you sell?
Clothes, jeans, Levi's,
Oh wow.
the saddles, of course, and anything else that they wanted made out of leather.
Oh.
Yeah, so we had a lot of people from Japanese company that liked our leather briefcases. So my husband would, they would build the leather briefcases and send them to Japan. And we sent stuff all over the world whenever they found out about us,
Wow.
And I think we're like we had a Colorado saddlery here at the same time, but my husband he'd go out and measure the horses and see, exactly what they needed, and so that he didn't want the horses to be rubbed raw or anything. So he would measure them, and then he'd come back and build the saddle. And his dad had started the shop. Dad came from Missouri, and he had been working at a saddlery there. And so he had a side of leather, and I believe it was 50 cents according to the stories. And so he somehow with that he started Max Saddlery.
Wow.
And then we spread into 4 different buildings, I think, after that. And my kids used to go down there and play, and there was a veterans store next door, and they had just a place where they were storing old rags and stuff. Somebody set fire to the rags that were back there. And my kids were in there playing. We took them down there when we were working. And they saw flames coming out from the building, from the window. Excuse me. So then my husband went outside, and the whole back end of the store was on fire. And so they called the fire department right away. And the fire department, they were working there. I asked the fire department they'd take my kids and explain to them what could happen when we're having a big fire like that. So they took them for a ride in the fire truck and talked to them about that. But we never actually had a fire there. So but we always thought we would because the other guy next door was up there with that pot of tar, you know. But he managed not to do that. But anyway, I probably shouldn't say this, anyway, they decided to get the money out of their shop.
Right. That's the rumor that might have
Yeah.
been what happened.
Yeah, so,
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, until we had the shop until, shoot, I forgot.
Was it 1989 when the fire happened?
I
Yeah,
I think that was it. And
Yeah,
then-
1989.
Yeah, and after that, my husband was sick, and so we didn't really start up again, you know. It takes a lot of money to start over and everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
but then he just stayed home. He died in 2004.
Oh.
So,
So it's been almost 20 years that
Yeah.
you've been on your own. We brought you a water in case, just because I know it's a little
Oh.
warm and dry back
oh,
here.
how sweet. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you,
Nice
Emily.
phone.
Yes, you were fast. Well, as we let her refresh herself,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
my fingers doesn't work.
I don't know if I have
Thank
any
you
more
very
questions. The
much.
only thing I was going to try to ask was just her actual birth year and date.
Oh,
Yeah. One of the last question I have, they might have some more, is your birth year and date. When you said you were born in Lindsay, Oklahoma, and what
Yeah.
year and date was that?
October 18th, 1936. I was born in the same house my mom was born in.
Oh, wow.
It was like it was in an L shape. They called it, my grandpa called it a peanut hole. So anyway, we lived there until some of my dad's relatives started moving out here, and they all had a good job at City Hospital, so they convinced him to come out here too. And it was a much better living than in Oklahoma, but I still miss Oklahoma. I love the rolling hills and all that. But then, you know, then they had their career. My mom and dad both worked out there. My mom worked in occupational therapy, and my dad was a supervisor. And then I worked there. I was a psych tech, and then I decided that I would rather be a school teacher. So I went to school and did that. And then I taught at Summerlid for 25 years, all in the first grade. Most of them in the same room, except I started out in a portable outside. And so I finally graduated and got to go into the building, but somebody left. We had 4 first grades in those days. And so, of course, Summerlid not there anymore either, so I outlasted them all.
I do have a quick question about the saddles. Do you remember seeing how they made the saddles and the process? We actually have some saddle making equipment over here. We can take a look at after we're done talking, but curious just from your perspective, how hard was the process was it to make these saddles?
Well, it was quite a process. They started with a saddle tree. I don't see that you have any saddle trees, do you?
I think we actually, is that a saddle tree or no? Or is it over there? We can actually go over there and look actually, if you'd
okay.
like. Yeah, let's go. I can carry the camera with us. So we've got lots of saddles. But I know we have saddle equipment. I'm not sure about, is that a saddle tree? That's a rack. I'm not sure about a saddle tree. I don't think I'm not sure about the tree.
Oh, it would be like this. This is really an old Spanish one. This is Spanish too, I think.
There. Oh, it is a tree. Okay, cool. So why is is that just,
It's wood.
okay, so they call it a tree because it's wood?
Yeah. And then they build a saddle, shape it all over there. And some people like quilted seats in there because they're more comfortable. And a lot of people like carving, but some people didn't want the carving on there. And you just started out with that, and then you would take a piece of leather and fit it in here, and then mold it over that
And
there.
here it looks like it says this is a saddle forming rack. Did you guys have these too to form the saddle just like with a hammer?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's a saddle tree, we call that,
Okay, they call that a saddle
Yeah.
tree too sometimes.
and they, I don't know who made this one, I don't see the,
Yeah, looks like it doesn't say who made that one
Oh.
on there. It may somewhere on here.
oh, it's just carving.
How many people did it take to make one saddle, would you say?
Usually one person would
Make one
work
saddle?
on it, yeah. But, we had two really old saddle makers that had been here, forever. And so they started out working with us. And then my husband was, he carved as well. His dad didn't carve anymore, but he would shape the saddles and do
Mhm.
all that kind of thing. And ours came out different because we had
We have some of your saddles over here.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if we can find one over here. Might be on the other side here. That's McClellan.
Tell me what you're looking for.
Yeah, McConnell. I think we have a McConnell saddle. I thought we did. Max, there we go. Right here. Here's one from you guys. Max Saddlery.
Okay. So, like Max,
Yep.
There's your stamp.
Max.
Has your
Okay,
stamp.
See how this fender, they call that a fender, see how it fits flat down there?
Mm-hmm.
And some of them didn't do that.
Right, it popped out.
Yeah.
So that maybe made it more comfortable on the leg.
We had a thing that you could put over it and go underneath and fasten it down so they didn't stick out. And then they had worked for Fraser's, or my father-in-law had. And he'd worked in Missouri on saddles, and then he came here, started the saddle shop, so.
How many hours do you think it took, hours or days, to make a saddle? What'd you estimate?
Well, I don't know, a couple of weeks, I think,
Mhm.
but what they would do, some saddle makers don't do that. They hooked a thing on here so that these wouldn't flop up, and they let it sit there until it didn't want to pop up anymore, And so they were a lot more comfortable to ride
Mm-hmm.
than if these were sticking out.
Right. So it took a lot of patience to make saddles, huh?
Yeah, and especially on the carving, especially full carving. And I don't, now this one is stamped, but I don't see any full carved saddles. They would have flowers.
By
all
hand,
over.
yeah.
Yeah.
These are all stamped, you
Oh,
say?
yeah, like that one. Now these are stamped.
This is carved?
Yeah, these are carved. You can feel it, how they did that.
Oh, I see the difference now. You could tell the
Yeah.
difference between a
You
stamp.
think how long it took to do that.
Yeah, that one that's on him right now.
And you have to have special tools to do it with.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes they would come to work at the saddle shop and they brought their own tools.
Mm-hmm. And that's
That's my father-in-law.
yeah, your father-in-law. And then your husband's over here in that picture. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much for taking time to
Well, it kind of
talk with us.
For a while. We used to know her.
Oh yeah, Kay Keating.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's actually. We saw on our calendar the cake. It says it somewhere here. There's a Kay Keating Day. Yeah, here it is. Kay Keating Day is on March 24th of every year. I thought it said it somewhere here. Yep. City Council of Pueblo declared March 24th Kay Keating Day.
Yeah. She's an interesting person.
Yeah. Yeah, these carriages are awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. It's been interesting. So,
I was wondering if I
did I
could.
bring my purse or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could get a picture of you
Yeah.
with the lucky